Welcome back to Focus on Africa. Now, meeting climate goals does not always need billion-dollar ideas or investment. Sometimes it can just take a shovel, a seedling, and a child. In southern Kenya, a community is turning the traditional celebration of a new life into climate action, where for every child born, 10 trees are planted. 5 at home and 5 at the nearby school. The mtimtoto initiative, Swahili word for a child and a tree, is helping restore degraded areas and contribute to the government's ambitious plan of planting 15 billion trees by 2032. The BBC's Peter Mwangangi now reports.
5 years ago, Mkanjuma Mwandisha gave birth to a daughter and named her Wakesho, which means tomorrow or the future in the local community here in Wundayi, Taita Taveta County. Instead of the usual gifts that new mothers receive, she was given 10 seedlings, which she planted here on her farm and in the nearby school. The trees have now grown way taller than Wakesho, a spark that has ignited an important lesson on environmental stewardship for the child.
The initiative has taught me to teach my child, even at a tender age, that as she is growing, she's supposed to plant trees as many as possible. And also, instead of marking birthdays with cakes and parties, she can also mark a birthday with planting a tree.
Mkanjumwa is one of the women involved in efforts to improve the once thriving ecosystem here. Locals say their farm harvest has been declining over the years, something they hope to change.
Okay, in terms of the forest cover or tree cover here in Taita Taveta County, the tree cover is estimated at 6.8%, and for the forest cover, it is currently estimated to be at 3.4%. So the county government of Taita Taveta is committed towards surpassing the national target of 30% tree cover and 10% forest cover by the year 2032.
They plant a mix of exotic, indigenous and fruit trees. Researchers then geotag the trees, a process that assigns geographical coordinates to help locate the trees.
My projections were we would have done like 100,000 in the first 5 years. But you see, I just mentioned that we have done 36,000. So one of the biggest challenges we have is funding. You know, I've been funding this project from my pockets. And then number two is now that we tied this program into birth of a child, there's a very low birth rate in this area.
From a seedling to a tree to a forest, the aim is to ensure that those who benefit do not include just the local communities living here, but also those living in drier areas downstream who depend on tourism revenue for their income. The ecosystem here is critical to the surrounding areas, which include the world-famous Tsavo East and Tsavo West National Parks. The proximity of such parks to residential areas means that human-wildlife conflict is frequent. The government believes that restoration of the environment is one way to address this challenge.
So most of the time, you see animals move from protected areas, searching for water and pasture. But when we conserve the water towers, downstream will have a lot of water for wildlife.
Researchers also hope that the initiative will help restore migratory corridors for 3 endangered species of birds which are endemic to this region. That is the Taita apalis, Taita thrush, and the Taita white-eye.
The habitat has been going lower and lower, to an extent that they cannot connect in between the forest corridors because there are no indigenous trees in between.
For Wakesho, just like the meaning of her name, there is hope for the future. Hope that she and other children will carry on the work of restoring the environment and pass it on to future generations. Peter Mwangangi, BBC, Southern Kenya.
And today marks the end of the UN Climate Conference, COP30, where world leaders and delegates have been setting out plans to tackle climate change. But what has actually been achieved? Well, to discuss this, I'm now joined by the BBC's World Service Environment correspondent, Navid Singh Khadka. Many thanks for joining us on the program. So how effective are tree planting initiatives in tackling degraded areas, for instance?
Well, you see, what scientists say is if you can secure, protect original natural forests. They're known as primary forests. That's the best thing. But if you can't, then definitely you can restore them. But even when you're restoring them, the question is what kind of species, and are they also suitable to the changing climate, that kind of thing, you see, because we have seen in places where forests now are susceptible to wildfires. And also the question of, can you, after plantation and all those photo ops, can you maintain them? Can you see them growing into forests? That's the challenge, and that's not happening in many parts of the world.